Hello and welcome. It's a Link to the Past Randomizer Hybrid Major Glitches Tournament 2023. And I'm Chex Human. We've got a race between ObscureLifeForm and someone. They should be getting ready at any second here. And this is a Major Glitches tournament, so our runners are allowed to use out-of-bounds clips to navigate Hyrule. We'll be seeing a lot of clipping, which is essentially required to get through the seeds. Logic will expect us to go out of bounds. Logic expects some minor glitches to be used as well, some in combination with major glitches. And they're off. We have Obscure's signature fish starting us off, and someone as Vanilla Link Sprite. And we get a map check. Our runners check Hylia Island right away. There is a bottle available. We'll see if anyone goes for that. Looks like both runners want to go for it. Yeah. So they'll use a downward teleport to clip Link onto the bottom edge of the screen. The blue guard gets in someone's way, and he takes him down, and he gets a single bomb for his trouble. Both runners get the funny auto walk thing at the same time. Pretty nice to see. They both get the bottle. And this is a save and quit since our runners are stuck on the island. They're both going to sink now. Get a piece of heart. And we'll see what's next for them. As they make their way to Bonk Rocks, just a fighter's shield. Okay, we have a Death Mountain Ascent for someone. So he'll be getting the old man save point right away. Let's see here. So how's he going to do this? He's working on dash buffers, and if you haven't dash buffered before, it's holding B and mashing right and A on the same frame. And this has to be done until Link clips. Obscure, meanwhile, is going to the Lost Woods, picks up 3 bombs. Here we go. Someone kicks down, and it pushes Link to the next screen. Link is then able to screen wrap by jumping off the edge of the screen. And this places him in Old Man Cave. Obscure, meanwhile, is going to Kakariko Village. So we'll see what is in Blind's Hut. Someone has to be careful. Returning the old man just for 50 rupees. That is okay. We will be returning to this screen a lot. So it's nice to have the save point. And someone's next play is a DMD, a descent to Graveyard Ledge. And there we go. We get another bottle. So that's the way hybrid major glitches goes, of course. We do a glitch at the beginning to get something nice, but we also get it for free later. So we have a mirror in Kakariko Well. And powder. Obscure cannot yet use the powder at the magic bat, having no magic. Logic currently does not expect Link to clip to the magic bat, although it is possible. A lot of runners learned it for the previous logic. Someone, meanwhile, is searching lost woods. We'll most likely go to CAC after this. Sick kid. Just 3 bombs. I didn't catch Bottle Vendor, but I assume Obscure got it. We'll probably see someone go to Bottle Vendor as well. We'll have over 100 rupees. Obscure now going to the next stop on our trip through the overworld, which is Desert Ledge. And a check of Desert through Desert Left. This fish is eager to get to the desert for some reason. Doesn't quite make sense. Obscure has the opportunity in this room to pick up 2 magic decanters, but does not do that at this point. Bottle Vendor just had 20 rupees. Oh, we have a gold bee. Oh, that's nice. Maybe that bee came from Graveyard Ledge. And someone gets money refunded in full. So far, runners have the mirror as a progression item, and this could be used to go somewhere in the dark world. There are a few spots that it opens up. Oh, hey, there we go. So Obscure finds Cane in Desert Compass chest, and can't use it yet, no magic. But they're adept with bombs. I didn't catch if that was 2 items found at this point. Alright, what's next for Obscure? They're clipping on the right side of Desert. This will take them to K45. Two items. Thanks, Tom. Alright, someone is now clipping. This clip to get to Desert is a little tricky. It's a little different. Obscure doing a clip to the left. And this is to go to Aegina. We looked at this clip with Mr. Buyer checking the timings to get to Aegina from K45, and you can save a second by jumping down off the left cliff rather than dashing upwards. All right, now will someone get the magic? He will not. Now we get the map check from Obscure, and they see that Hera is a pendant. What's next? So it's a South Shore play for Obscure. Will be interesting to see how far they go. Now someone claims his cane. Well done with bombs. Obscure now going to Mini Moldorm Cave has 8 bombs. And let's see how this goes. 2 for 2. 4 for 3. Nice. Very well done. All junk, just money, which is nice. It takes Obscure over 500. We'll see if they want to go to Zora. Meanwhile, someone takes a different route through desert, goes to Aegina before Cave 45. So we see someone leave Aegina's cave. And we have Obscure being careful around the crabs and is checking Ice Rod Cave. Oh, there's our pearl. That's nice. Pearl is found at Ice Rod Cave. Obscure is now setting up a water walk. Alright, so someone now having checked Cave 45. What is next? He's clipping downwards. Hey, there's a fire rod and a glove. So that's quite nice. We even get a magic refill. So Obscure is taking advantage of that. We'll be curious if someone goes this direction as well. Nothing on Zora's ledge, and Obscure will be checking Zora. Obscure graciously takes the bombs. And next up is Sanctuary, so I wonder if the mountain is next for Obscure. No. With the gloves, Obscure is going for back of escape. Someone is continuing on to Ice Rod Cave. So he'll get his Moon Pearl. Not too much in back of his cape. There's a small key. Okay. Someone gets a little crowded. Takes damage from the bomb. Better that than the crab, though. 1 heart versus 2 hearts of damage. Okay. Obscure now is doing what? Will we get a lumberjack check? Perhaps. Just a piece of heart on the ledge. We get a hobo check from someone taking advantage of the water walk to go here under the bridge. And what is Obscure doing? Looking for the right place for the DMA. Just a full heart container at hobo for someone. So now it's Obscure's turn to do the DMA. We call this new DMA, although it's been 4 years plus at this point. Okay. We didn't get the setup we wanted, so we're starting over. Okay. Meanwhile, someone... Oh, I see what Obscure did. Obscure did old DMA. My fault. So we saw the new DMA from someone and the old DMA from Obscure. So nice to see that to give some comparison. Obscure needed to unwrap the camera before going into the entrance. Otherwise, there's a long transition. Okay, someone still does not have magic power, unfortunately. He didn't go to Zora's domain, rather to the waterfall like Obscure did. So someone is using bombs to navigate Hera. Red rupee, and we're done. There's a shovel on top of Spectacle Rock, which we can grab with a simple downward teleport. Obscure and someone high five at the Spectacle Rock cave. Someone is ready for the Dark World. And we have Green Pendant Skullwoods and Pendant Thieves Town. Obscure can take advantage of Kane. So meanwhile, we have someone doing the Turtle Rock climb, and it involves some half circle backs and kicks from Link. And Link can climb the thick wall to the right in a very interesting way that we don't really get to see with any other walls. Obscure is doing the same thing, but in the light world. Someone now is grabbing the full magic decanter. There we go. Obscure, as a fish, looks pretty good jumping up that mountain. I like that. Nothing on Floating Island. Both runners now going into Spiral Cave. I'm not quite sure what happened to Obscure there. They're trying again. Oof, this one is tough. Obscure really wanted to win a race versus the mini mole driller and was punished for 3 hearts of damage. Just a single arrow as a reward. Someone already in Paradox Cave. Oh, uh-oh. Very nice dodge from Obscure. That could have been costly. So Obscure seems pretty safe at this point. We'll be getting the hearts in the bottom 2. And one of them is a refill. Meanwhile, someone clears Paradox and it's all junk. So we'll see what's next. Someone is returning. Obscure is done. So someone will be returning to the top of the mountain. That's where his portal is. And one thing that someone is missing is Hookshot Cave. There's an item in logic there, even without the glove. But someone's not doing it. Someone is going to Catfish and does a funny auto walk thing to descend. Nice that Catfish is right here next to Turtle Rock. Flippers. That's kind of funny and very good for someone. Very convenient. Having mirror, he mirrors, goes into waterfall. He'll be finding the glove and fire rod here. He does not, however, throw a bottle in, so he won't have a refill. He does still have magic, of course, from Super Bunny Cave. Obscure's next play is a Hera clip. However, it's not for Hera, of course. It's for getting to the Dark World. Someone picks up his bombs from Zora. And Obscure will be checking East Dark Death Mountain. What's next for someone here? We've seen both King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge, I believe. So we'll see what's next. It's a Hera clip. Okay, so looks like it's a trip down south, east. Where are we going? We're doing the old DMD. And I'm joined by Malmo. Hello.
Hello.
We just saw a first item of Hookshot Cave, a sword, which Obscure hovered to, interestingly.
The warm-up hover.
We have...
he used up all his hovering on the first chest.
That's troublesome, but they'll try again. And someone has descended into the main Dark World using the old DMD, the mirror clip.
It's nice to have people showing us the logical way to do things every now and then. We recently had a seed with Hookshot and Hera, and you actually had to unlock it from Meyer. Never get to see that. That said, someone appears to have the Moon Pearl, so I'm curious why we're using the mirror clip.
I don't know. Part of it might be the alternative method is a spin speed for someone, perhaps, and someone doesn't have that ability, or that's just his preferred method. I'm not really sure.
That is a very good point. You don't need to use spin speed. You can clip out the same way you would with spin speed without it, just by mashing. But there is a very free way to do it without spin speed that uses the top of the hill and doesn't have hard lock risk.
Right. So someone is making a play for Skullwoods. Only issue here is there's no sword. Wait, does someone have a sword? The sword was in Hookshot Cave. Someone skipped Hookshot Cave, unfortunately, not having the gloves and not doing the wrap to get to the other side of it.
I wouldn't do that either. Like, personally, if I'm not a hoverer, I don't think doing the clip that skips the glove just for one check is worth it. So it might be a while before someone gets back there.
And Obscure, meanwhile, has made a play for Turtle Rock. What do you think of this play, Malmo?
I'm a big fan of doing Turtle Rock when you have the Cane and Fire Rod. I think it's like there's just no reason to put it off. It's so easy to get back to Trinex when you get the Ice Rod later, or the weapon in this case as well. The Ice Rod alone, I think, wouldn't be enough. I think it's just a good density play, and you know, usually you have to go really deep just to get the big key. It's like going to pod.
And someone is continuing through Village of Outcasts. One interesting thing about this place is Thieves Town is a pendant. So we'll see how much of that is done. Obscure taking the correct play, the correct direction through torches with no hook shot.
I'm also a fan of putting off Village of Outcasts for as long as possible when Thieves is a pendant, just so I don't have to make the decision. Obscure has a complicated relationship with pendant thieves, and crystal thieves for that matter, that I don't quite understand. Not doing this room in the dark. Most random players are pretty good at this. I am not. But you can avoid this room just by doing a back entry with the mirror, or even without it. But Obscure has plenty of experience with rando and really no trouble at all.
The silhouette of the fish with this shield to the side is pretty funny.
You mean the shield with the fish to the side?
Right. That's what I meant.
Oh my goodness. I always forget how low his sprite is, and his laser skips always look like they're gonna fail. I think I saw map and compass, so Trinex is holding an item. But correct me if I'm wrong.
I just know it won't be the ice rod.
Yeah, this is not 2022. We only have Trinex ice rods in even numbered years.
Fair. In anticipation of no logic. Oh, I missed the Maya medallion. Ah. So, our tracker, Tom, has spotted it as, and has marked it as Quake.
So I'm wondering, what is Obscure going back up for? Is this just to go to Catfish?
Yeah, that's interesting.
This is a lot just for Catfish.
And the interesting thing is, it is important. That's flippers for Obscure.
Yeah, and the cool thing you can do with those flippers is you can get a swim clip on this slope and swim to bumper ledge and get the item immediately. It's faster than everything except fake flute.
And we have NPC at Hype Cave with the bow, and the silvers are
That's pretty
inside,
good.
followed by hookshot.
I think this is someone's sword coming up very soon.
and I'm wondering if the sort of clockwise play around the dark world for Obscure has to do with these now being a pendant.
I'm also wondering what someone's Argus plan is, if this is a key. Is it silver arrows? You can do it with silver arrows.
It's a key!
It is a key! Let's go.
Amazing!
Alright, Obscure's clipping.
A 1 in 10.
Swim clipping to the pyramid. I can't believe this.
Okay.
This means that if we're looking for Meyer Medallion, Obscure might deprioritize this. And it could totally just be in here because of the key.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look how far to the left that fish is from the entrance. So we want it to be centered, so we can ensure entry into the pyramid.
Becky clip basically required for someone. Okay, I see people doing Specky clip wrong a lot. You actually do have to use a single movement from that rail to normalize your subpixel, or else you have, I think, a 1 in 4 chance of failing.
Hmm. Oh, someone is skipping the heart pot at 4 hearts. I would say swamp is a little dangerous. 3 hearts now. 4.
That's also a heart pot.
Yep. All right. Escape for Obscure. Obscure has the small key from the back, incidentally.
The fact that someone is doing... Oh, it's a glove. The fact that someone... The hammer's in swamp, too. Oh, no. Oh, this is like Meyer Medallion Go mode, but only if you do swamp first, which is kind of wild. And of course, there's they do need some swords, and the lamp is here too. That means that there's no small key on Vitreous. That's just kidding. There's a key in swamp. The small key can be wherever it wants.
And I'm thankful Malmo here is to remind us of how the logic works in HMG.
It's easy because it's not HMG in this seed.
Yeah.
Meyer can do whatever it wants. The only thing that's HMG about the seed is the hammer and swamp. What you were supposed to do... So I would actually really like to know if Tower of Hera Big Key is available.
It is.
I think that would be really important information. Okay, so that means that Meyer is not locking swamp.
And can you remind us why that is?
So the hammer and swamp is not from Specky Clip. As you probably guessed, Specky Clip is like 2 months old, and the logic is quite a bit older than that. So what you're actually supposed to do is climb Hera normally, or clip in from Meyer, and then clip to swamp and move right. And that puts you inside the hammer pig's cage, and once you've flooded that, it stays flooded forever. So you can double dip swamp, flood that section, which is the only thing in swamp that requires a hammer, and then just go in normally as if you've done Specky Clip.
Right. And we have to use that Hera Big Key to go upstairs. And that allows us to clip to swamp.
I'm a little bit sad we didn't get to see Silver Arrow's Argus.
Yeah. But having watched people play this game and having played it, I know that goes off the rails easily.
You know what also goes off the rails? Obscure going off of this rail to go to GT. I wonder if someone will also go to GT, or someone will go to Hookshot Cave first and get their sword.
Indeed, it did go off the rails, as Obscure did not land in front of the GT entry. Rather, somewhere off to the right.
Yeah, Obscure appears to have filleted himself on the mountain.
Oop.
So someone did not go to either of those places. He actually went to Pod, which is a good play, I think. You have everything you need for it to be in logic, and it's a crystal. And you usually have to go looking for a big key anyway, so it's not very go-modable.
Ah. I didn't see how Obscure messed up these two attempts. This can happen if you move off of the correct Y pixel, however. So it could be caused from a slip. Moving up a little, or it might be. I'm not sure if that's the only way it can go wrong.
Alright, we'll look this time. Obscure is staying on grid, and needs to clip all the way in until stop.
Yes.
Because you can, if you don't clip all the way in, that can also fail. There we go. That should work.
Yeah, that looked good.
It's kind of hard to tell when you're all the way in when you're a fish with no shadow.
So someone is in Pod. I didn't look at the Kiki skip, but for anyone unfamiliar, Spectacle Rock leads us to Pod. And that's because they're essentially adjacent on the Underworld map. And we can take advantage of certain diagonal walls. There's our ice rod. That is in GT Hope Room.
That's a really easy go mode location.
Mm-hmm.
You just go there. Even if it's your last location, that's a good one, you know. You don't do Smith Chain before this, but like you can still go mode GT if that's your last item. Because you walk in and just get the ice rod. But they need Quake, and they need swords. And Obscure needs to God Vision that Swamp is not Mire locked. Which is, I think some people will choose to do Swamp when they're in Mire go mode, just to see, and then they'll go mode Swamp when they find out it's not. And full clear it when they find out that it is available. So the big key was a meme. It's Tile Room. This is why we do Tile Room first, by the way. You don't want to get to the big chest and not have the big key, and then have to double dip the big chest.
And as we've seen, there can also be progression items in Tile Room, so while we're looking for stuff, we might as well check it.
So Obscure's going all the way through. This is not in logic. At least I don't think it is. We haven't seen the torch key, if it's actually a key or not. But I think even if it was, like, Obscure's here with 0 keys. It's probably hammer locked. But that doesn't matter, because you can just go to Swamp and get your hammer. And there's a sword for someone, not in Hookshot Cave, but in the Pod big chest.
Nice.
If by some miracle Obscure has go mode Pod, you might not actually get that sword. But I think Pod before Swamp is likely, just because of how easy it is to return to Pod when you go in without a hammer. And how unlikely it is that Swamp is available. Now, one thing that could happen is Obscure could just find the Mire Medallion.
Yeah.
And that would basically erase all the problems that this Swamp is causing. And there's another sword. They're both dupable.
Mm.
Not in this mode. But yes, so Obscure got hit. We have 3 swords, and they're all different.
Wow, Obscure does not have a bow, so is relying on sword beams to deal with Armos Knights.
Sword beams are pretty good. I would say they're like the 3rd best weapon for Armos.
Me too. Bow, Burna, beams. All the bees. But not bees.
But not bees. It would be cool if bees work, but they don't. Bees damaging only moth is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Just junk behind Ice Armos. Obscure's done here. What are the chances we'll see Trinex?
Or Obscure, or just ever.
Right now.
Right now.
Obscure.
I think Turtle Rock is a very tempting play. Compared to the other options Obscure has available, it's definitely one of the better ones. He's not going there. He just now checked his map. That's why Thieves Town's not marked on his tracker. Because he didn't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That's funny.
That means that his route in the overworld before was not influenced by his knowledge. Because
No,
he didn't have it yet.
One possible influence was having Mushroom.
Oh, of course.
He combined Mushroom with...
He was under the
catfish.
influence of mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like the checking mirror, using the mirror to check these, especially when you haven't picked them up. Both of these Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb are Sphere 1. You can actually do Graveyard Ledge clip in the Dark World and get here a little bit faster.
Runners are in green palette locations. Someone now in Eastern.
I never noticed King's Tomb and Eastern are the same. There's the bottle that someone got really early, isn't it?
Yep. That had a bee. A golden bee.
The bee was useful.
Alright, Obscure will carry on. What are the chances that we'll see Skull Woods?
It's really hard to justify doing one and done when it's a green pendant and you have the fire rod. I think you're either doing the whole thing or you're doing none of it. But there is a logical bias that I've been told about where the total number of chests in a dungeon has more influence on the likelihood of having progression than the number of items. So Skullwoods is a little bit biased in favor of having progression. So I can get behind this, especially with Obscure having so little to do and really not wanting to get to Thieves Town without a hammer. Maybe he doesn't want to get there with one either. It's dependent too.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of this loop, Obscure will get both bows and the hookshot from Pipe Cave. The hookshot doesn't do much except tempt Swamp. And Obscure does have some swords. I wouldn't be surprised to see Swamp just done from like the HMG direction in Hera if there's a key available. Because going in through the front door is pretty bonkers. I would be very surprised if both of them did that. But I also expect to see Pot and Eastern before either of those. Even without the hammer, I think pod is good.
Yeah, I agree. Alright, Mothula fight for Obscure. Meanwhile, someone takes down Armos.
What's your opinion on spinning Mothula?
It's good because you can frequently get a guaranteed hit. But, you know, you have to pin the moth against the spikes for that. Oh, we get a charging moth.
Oh, phase 3. This is actually really dangerous.
Oh, we have a fall for Obscure and no fairy.
What I like to do on this equipment is I like to stand below moth as much as possible and use the fire rod and slashes. Because I think you can get like more DPS than you can with spins, because spins, you have to charge them and you often lose your charge. And half magic fire rod is actually a really powerful combination.
Oh yeah.
It's actually OP. The fairy's a double-edged sword. He can lose the beams easily though.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's options here. So, Obscure, take 2. Meanwhile, someone is falling to back escape. Yeah, one thing we saw was a charge from Mothula, and that has to do with something that occurs after a number of movements. And I'm just now wondering, this is just a theory, not necessarily true, but maybe you are increasing Moth's movements by attacking it repeatedly.
Oh, like you're storing energy in Mothula?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those projectiles are actually springs. Okay, nice refight.
Yep.
And it was an item, so potentially this could be a fast dungeon for Obscure. Death aside. Here goes someone having a little bit more to do in GT than Obscure did.
Yeah.
We'll be getting a sword. And whatever is hammerlock that we didn't get to see.
Yeah, so 10 more item chances. Quake could easily be here.
And the ice rod, that's right. So, quick dive back into TR, I think, before anything else is done, if someone has that sword. Because finishing the crystals you can do is good, and I think there's an item there, but I'm not sure. It might depend, of course, on whether Quake was locking Turtle Rock, which I was not counting keys for.
Right, I don't have the scoop on that, but I know that it can be done from the middle. And a blue rupee is our stun prize, incidentally. Not that it matters with 1,643 rupees. Blue mail is at the map chest of GT. Okay, so thieves. Will we spurn thieves once again?
I think once you've done Skull, you kind of have to do Thieves, but it's also Obscure, and I can never predict what he's going to do with Thieves, so I'm just going to let him show us what he's going to do. This does look like some kind of Thieves.
It is some kind of thieves. Here we are.
And with Hera not being Meyerlock, this could be also a pedestal play. It seems to be in logic, and could be the Meyer Medallion, which, you know, wouldn't be the worst thing for Obscure, given how hard he has to work to get everything else. The book is hammerlocked, so, you know, even checking pet isn't really an option for Obscure. Someone getting a teaser medallion. Bombos, not required.
No. So we have not seen Big Chest, have we? Did we see that? I feel like we saw it.
I don't think we got the key.
I mean, I think Obscure did Big Chest.
Oh, Obscure, yeah. I don't think someone got Tile Room.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
not yet. All right, so Quake is not in the basement.
It could still be in the climb, but that's not hammerlocked. Maybe hammerlocked logically, though, which is... I never know what's going on with the climb logic. I know that you need 3 keys, so if we saw any more than 1 key behind the hammer, then it's hammerlocked. But really, that's just information for Obscure and not for someone. Because someone has the hammer and it's in logic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really nothing to read about it.
An initial skip of Tile Room, unfortunately, for someone.
Yeah, I think someone's just going to have to leave behind that big chest. There's really no coming back to it unless you are haunted by the prospect of leaving it. Oh, and it's in Thieves Town.
The back of Thieves.
Wow.
There we go.
Well, now we have a race. Who knows when someone will go back to that? Someone has so much to do that's available. Like, I would not. If I was someone's mentor, I would say, like, Thieves last, right? I would say you do all your crystals, and then you do maybe Skullwood's check ped, and then do Thieves.
Yeah, to go to back of Pendant Thieves before that 1 hour mark is remarkable, so that's pretty fast. Oh, we're leaving GT, but we can't leave GT.
I guess I would be worried about this big chest of thieves, but I think we know where all the items are now that we care about.
Oh, yeah.
Up to Tempered Sword.
I cared about BugNet for 2 seconds, but I don't care about it that much. Oh, right. So Obscure still needs Hammer and is fighting blind.
Yeah, Obscure also needs the items that are in Hype Cave.
Yeah.
And we didn't really talk about Bow and Hookshot because we assume that Obscure will land on them at some point, but he's definitely not in Go mode. He's just in a very good position to be in Go mode sooner because of where he found his hard items, especially because he has Mire Medallion now. He has a good reason to go to Swamp. Whereas the problem was if Swamp was actually like locking the Mire Medallion behind the hammer, that could have been the issue.
Oh, someone's going back into Super Bunny and picks up the full magic to refill his magic.
So I think someone left GT because of magic issues. Because he did have no magic coming out.
Incoming sword, now going to Hookshot Cave. That's tempered for someone. Oh, a single dig for digging game. I didn't pick up on that before.
An all red Hookshot Cave for someone.
Good stuff. Okay, TR play.
Oh, Obscure got the good dash. Let's go. I think this is also Obscure's first, knowledge of the Mire Medallion. Which means that he didn't know that Quake was good until just now.
Oh my gosh. We're going into Mire.
So the route to do here, if you want to be cool, is you go into Mire and you exit out of Swamp. And then you go to Hype Cave and then Stumpy.
Yeah. Definitely. I want to be cool like that. So here we are in Mire. Obscure can clear it. What are the chances Obscure will be doing other things in Mire besides Vitreous? Pretty good, I think.
Sleepy makes a good point that that if the small key of Thieves Town was not available, then the attic Quake would have been out of logic, and Obscure could have read logic to not look for Hammer in here. However, the key was just sitting in blind cell, so we don't get to have fun this seed. That would have been bad, actually, because if Obscure had a Hammer-locked Quake, and Hammer was in Swamp and not Mire-locked, that would have actually led him away from it. I would certainly not go to Swamp and full clear it if I knew that my Mire medallion was Hammer-locked and that's what I was looking for.
So, I think it's likely we'll see Obscure leave out of Swamp, like you said, and then go to Hype Cave. I bet he'll clear Swamp after that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really like Obscure's style to do that, because I don't know what his style is. But it's what I would do, but I don't know if it's what he would do.
Yeah.
Obscure skipping the bar key, honestly, I think that's fine, because if you're gonna do Swamp, you can just get it on the way back in. You just have to remember.
Interesting. Nice, we're already going to Vitreous. I wasn't counting items.
Someone closing it out with a walk skip. Let's go. And try next for someone coming up. So how many dungeons does someone have to full clear before he starts doing pendants? He's got to climb GT, he's got to do Ice Palace, and he's got to do Desert. And then there's multiple pendants to choose from. Tower of Hera is available. That could be a quick one to get out of the way. And if you're going for Pedestal, just a blind pull, you would do them in the order of Hera, Thieves, Skull. But if you were going for, I want to be able to mirror out of Thieves Town if blind's not an item, you do Skull first and check Ped.
Interesting.
I think I would like that second one better, because you can do it Smith Chain after, rather than ending your route in just inside Skullwoods.
Oh. So, Obscure takes an initial bop from Vitreous. Does have a cape to use and half magic, of course.
I think this is enough magic to do spins. And if you think you're going to run out, you can... Oh, Obscure... Okay, you can do a bunch of slashes and not... Sorry, I'm holding my breath because Obscure is on one hit KO. I think the potion's a good idea.
Right, I forgot. No bow still. Alright, so Trinex is down for someone.
And someone is going back across the mountain, which could be a GT play. But it could also be... It could be something else, but I think this is going to be GT.
I would have thought it would be a Spike Cave start, but no.
We didn't see Spike Cave on the way to GT the first time.
Not totally sure. Don't think so.
Yeah, the small key not being on Vitreous is technically Swamp's not Samari locked, but also the Swamp small key's available, so none of that logic matters. Except that, like, someone might... Yeah, or, like, Obscure might read logic differently because of the hammer, but I don't think there's really anything to read anymore. I think you just have to do all the dungeons, and then eventually he'll get to Swamp and find what he needs.
So I am unable to see what's happening on Obscure's side, so I'm not sure if he picked up a small key.
Okay, Obscure's
Looks like
back.
no.
He has one, though. He has a key.
Yeah, he has a key.
So he saved time. Maybe. If he picks up any of the pot keys in Swamp, I think he loses that time back.
Okay, so it's time for Hera to Swamp. So what do we got here? A dash clip, perhaps?
Is Obscure doing, like, the old one-frame setup? Okay, he's just starting... I see what he's doing. I don't think this is... I don't know if this is correct.
Seems fine. That's so far, so good.
Okay. Is this the thing you're normally doing when you're sword buffering?
I would normally sword buffer, but Obscure chose to use select buffers.
Yeah. I mean, like, the actual, like, movements themselves. It's not a setup I'm familiar with, but it worked. So, it must be good.
Yeah, in fish form, makes it a little harder to detect.
Yeah, meanwhile, someone also on the Crystal Tear is ahead in progress. So the race isn't over just because Obscure has the potential to find Go Mode sooner in Swamp. Which is funny because his Go Mode's not actually going to be in Swamp if he goes back in. Oh yeah, he has to get the hook shot out of Hype Cave and then do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he doesn't have to, but he should. Oh, he's gonna open the door! The Swamp small key that's in Hera now. Or in Mire. Walking out of Mire instead of out of Swamp is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Especially because he's going east.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, maybe it's good. This does put you pretty close to Stumpy, and it's good, I think, if you're going to do anything after Hype Cave that's not Stumpy.
I'm sure
Oh, it's also
fine.
good. It's also good for Checkerboard. And
Yeah.
he can pick up Desert while he's here as well. So yeah, he has more business in the area. I can see why he's mirroring out.
Someone being extra careful due to jingle glitch potential. An important concern while playing glitch seeds, as glitch seeds do not have the jingle glitch protection that no glitches has. A green bottle, pre-Moldorm.
Green bottle. Yeah, it's nice. If Obscure never gets the other sword, which is... I don't know. I'm thinking, like, Obscure might actually Go Mode pod in this seed. So, Obscure probably won't get the pod big chest sword. It really
Yeah.
depends on what he chooses to do after Hype Cave, because it would be so easy for him to just go back into Swamp and Specky Clip and do Swamp. But it would also be easy for him to like not do that and just go to Eastern and Pod instead. But now that he knows that Swamp is just right outside of Hype Cave and available, like, it's so tempting to just go back in and do it.
Sure. And we have the Agatu fight for someone.
Nice triple.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No.
Oh, he's fine.
No.
He's fine.
We're not fine.
I think he could have wiggled out of that. Maybe
Happens to
not.
everybody.
Yeah, maybe because he's a fish, he looks like he's out of the wall, but he's actually very deep in it. So that's taking him away from Hype Cave. I really hope he continues the route. This looks like maybe the setup for a super jump, and that could be very good for him.
Yeah.
He could also start, I don't know if he's like been to Pyramid, but you could start the route at Pyramid as well and do the Pyramid Fairy route, but... Oh, he swam. Yeah, he's just doing super jump, which is good. It gets him back on track.
Yeah. Oh.
And now someone is frozen.
A little far to the left.
I think someone is...
No, it's fine.
Yeah, frozen. I was thinking that they were syncing the streams, but they're not actually doing that. It seems to be probably SpeedGaming's end then if it's happening to both runners, so we don't have to worry about like their VODs crashing. That would be sad.
So someone has mirrored and is now doing escape.
Oh, have we seen this yet?
I think we... Gosh, I don't recall now. I thought Obscure did it. Obscure made a play for escape.
Obscure's doing Stumpy first. We're never going to see Hype Cave.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I mean, he has nowhere else to go from here except, I guess, check the shovel. You gotta do Hype Cave, right?
I mean, you don't have to. It's not legally required. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. This is go
Bombs
mode,
out.
right?
It's gotta be, yeah.
So go mode for Obscure. What's his remaining dungeon count? He's got Eastern Pod.
Well, no, it's not.
Oh, he's not go mode yet. He has to go to Swamp. I was thinking because I saw him in Swamp that he was going to come out of it with Hammer, but he didn't actually do Swamp when he was there. Now he might do Swamp. He's got that shot out, which is a really good sign.
Yeah. Not totally sure why we start with hookshot.
I think... Yeah, I think you don't. I think I usually have hookshot out in here because you hookshot the chest to open it, but he already opened it. Yeah, you want to be on mirror for this. That makes sense. I think probably what's going on through his mind is, oh, I found the hookshot. I'm going to do Swamp, and Swamp uses the hookshot, so I'm going to menu to hookshot.
Yeah, or you just always use hookshot, so just keep it out.
Yeah, I used to do that as a kid. Hookshot was my always selected item.
And now you know you can use it as a navigational speed tech.
I can use it to annoy Fox by losing time when diagonal walking would be faster. Alright, now we can start thinking about calling go mode for Obscure, because the hammer is in the back of Swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, someone is doing exactly what you would expect. More crystal dungeons, more full clearing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go mode hammer is a much better experience because it's possible your opponent will be doing hammerlock dungeons.
Obscure also stutter step. Obscure is manually lining up this bomb, but you don't have to do that. In fact, I don't think it's working in his favor. Yeah, you want to do what he's doing. Just really wedge yourself in that corner and make sure that you are timing your walk back so that it's in one single motion. Oh, he's inching into it. I really hope he doesn't lose bombs and then lose out on the hammer and swamp because of it. Which is, he's very carefully lining up a pixel that has a free setup.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Obscure is going for.
This is his last one. That could have been
do
good.
it.
He
And
like
it just
stopped or
wasn't.
something. Yeah, I don't know what happened. That is very interesting for this race though, because he can come back here. He can go through he can do it the HMG way where you flood the middle and then swim. But
Yeah.
he can also do pod and Eastern and
So,
GT.
here's
you know,
but why? I mean, why go to pod?
because you got the bow. And the hammer's always in pod. So you go to pod and you don't get the hammer and you mirror and you do Eastern. And just hope the hammer's there.
Says no. Even after standing in front of...
No, he didn't have bombs for Kiki Skip.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is a problem.
That was a problem. He needs to buy bombs. Sometimes you just have to buy the bombs. Take your medicine. Go back to Swamp if you want to win the race. If you want to make the race more interesting, you go to pod.
Oh my gosh. This has taken that turn I did not expect.
Yeah, this race has been a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a race. It's a race.
Pain of Burnout for someone in Ice Palace.
Yeah, and in 2021 we would not have been so cavalier about expecting a runner to find their hammer in Swamp Palace, in the back of Swamp Palace.
That's very true. It used to be this like triple dip nightmare.
Yep.
You had to go in. If you didn't have the mirror, you had to save and quit a bunch of times. You go and flood and you save and quit or death warp on a bomb, and then you go in and flood again, or not flood, but you go the other way.
Yep.
And if you had to do a separate unlocking, that was a third trip, so it was quite the ordeal.
I missed our item collection in Ice Palace.
I saw a Burna, but I didn't look at the other items. I didn't see if someone made any skips.
Yeah, big chest.
Big chest? Okay, so probably counting.
Mm-hmm.
Or doing Pengator skip, and it's the big key.
Yeah, I missed. Someone did get Pengator chest, though.
Okay, it's probably just counting then. Why does someone have red mail and Obscura's green mail, by the way?
I don't recall at this point. All right. Another crystal for someone. So, we know there's no advantage to doing desert. So we've got a Abandoned Dungeon toss-up for someone.
Yeah,
that possible
this is...
overworld.
Desert's not an item, right? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, so you save desert for the full heal so you can go into Mire with beams. Someone is in a very commanding position now to do just a sweep of all the pendant dungeons while Obscure catches up on crystals.
Yeah. It's a needle in the haystack. There's overworld locations. Anything could happen here.
Yeah, there's still some Smith chain going on. I'm not sure about someone's fetch quest status. I saw Obscure checking the shovel, but I don't know if someone has that. Someone got the mushroom, which could be skipped if Turtle Rock was Quake locked. So that's your time save. That's your reward for reading Turtle Rock logic.
So unfortunately, we have a frozen screen on someone's side. Meanwhile, Obscure is making his way to Armos.
This is Obscure's second to last clearable crystal before he needs to do anything. And one of them is, of course, Swamp Palace. I think I would expect Turtle Rock first. But
Oh, yeah.
Swamp Palace is, I mean, you could also justify going into Pod. But Swamp Palace is, it's close. Obscure just needs to go back. Book out for someone. Okay, so this is interesting because when I was thinking about the ped check, I was thinking about you going into Skullwoods and you mirror and check it. And then you get your green pendant. Because even if Ped's dead, you still want your green pendant.
Yeah.
And then that lets you skip stuff in Thieves. But if someone is just going straight to, maybe I can go mode all the pendant dungeons and not do any of that at all. We're not going to get to see what's on Ped until the credits. But we know it's not Quake. Because we know where Quake is.
You're going back to the Dark World from the mountain. Could it be... Nope. No, of course. Obscure cannot check Spike Cave.
Number go mode's good sometimes. Obscure probably will not go into Ice before Swamp. Unless he can't figure out Specky Clip or the HMG intended method. So what does this look like? Yeah, what are we doing? This could be another super jump. This could be a return to Swamp.
It looked like an offset portal. No, it is a super jump. Return to Swamp is likely.
Changed his mind. So yeah, I mean, this is good for Obscure. He's choosing the correct thing to do next. Easterns, whatever. Like, you don't really go mode that anyway. But so he didn't lose that much time, except for the time it took to return to Swamp after getting bombs, and the time he spent trying to Specky Clip. Now he does have to figure out Specky Clip. He does have to flood the dam again.
Meanwhile, someone is one room away from go mode.
Someone's in Thieves Town already. And about to find go mode. This is actually really close between them finding their go modes. Someone has 2 dungeons left, Mire and Desert. Obscure has 5.
Wow. So, someone is fluting away. Time to approach Mire from a flute. So if you use the flute, a duck will pick you up and warp you to a location of your choice.
Yeah, that's a glitch called flute. There's also a glitch called spooky action at a distance that someone will get to use. Okay, let's watch Obscure figure out Specky Clip. I'm a little concerned that, yeah, he looks like he made it. That setup that he's using is probably just subpixel dependent. And he got lucky, but didn't get lucky the first time, which, it's pretty tragic, because this would have been a much closer race if he had made it the first time, given how quickly someone returned to Thieves Town to get his Quake.
Alright, so I don't recall where the big key is for someone. Okay. Wow, Obscure going to the left first.
Ooh, yeah, that's time lost for sure. I could have. I'm actually surprised someone didn't do this first because of his lack of weaponry. But Obscure has. It's probably just doing left side because he feels behind. I mean, I can't read his mind, but given that he tried to go here earlier and probably would have just full cleared it in the other direction, now he's thinking, well, like, if something's on left side, this is how I get it back.
Yeah. I think Obscure may have gone into the bottom left room first. I think he could have gone to the upper left one. Flooded the key.
Maybe he took the swamp key in Hare Estate.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
But he has a key. This is the key he needs to get to the back. So yeah, there's a sword here. If someone would have actually been rewarded if he had gone here and not found the hammer. But it's interesting. It's actually really nice. I mean, I know Obscure is like 5 dungeons behind, but he wasn't going to get the other sword in pod because he was going to go mode it, and it was the big chest. So at least he gets to have a tempered sword for the rest of the game.
I would be so mad about this miner if I were someone. Why does it have to be vanilla?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's this is my reward for God visioning Swamp and having Mire Medallion go mode.
Okay, nice diver down for Obscure. Oh yeah, mitts are here along with the hammer.
Mitts and hammer next to each other is pretty funny. It makes Ice Palace a little easier to get into.
Aga required seed.
That's true, except for the hammer and swamp. Let's ignore that part. I like how this manages to be an HMG swamp without actually having the small key shuffled.
Yeah, pretty wild. Alright, so Obscure is in go mode. Needs to be swamp, then the hammer lock dungeons, and TR as well.
I think someone will have a slightly easier time with Vitreous than Obscure did.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't see what happened to someone. Maybe he used powder or something.
We have no no magic left. All right, improvising using those rando skills. Obscura is going to take the mitts to go to ice instead of mirror wrapping, which is a little safer. Costs about 8 seconds.
Yeah, assuming optimal movement.
That almost looked like a whirlpool. Like, oh, I'm doing Zora.
So someone has to be fairly careful. He does have Burna if anything goes haywire. Oh, he has Silvers, right?
He has a red mail. I have died to this fight before, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be fine. I think he was actually more in danger of mirroring out of this fight than dying.
True. Alright, what was Obscure's path through here? Oh, right. Obscure's in go mode. Will not be checking Pengators.
Yeah, Pengator skip. Big clown play for Obscure.
Mm-hmm.
He has to get this key here, unless he wants to gamble the other chest has one.
some cleanup for someone, going back to desert.
I do appreciate Obscure just hard skipping the chest, even using it to hook shot doesn't open it. It's so hard to avoid opening it from the muscle memory alone.
So cold stare coming up for Obscure. We'll be using Fire Rod, not combos.
Yeah, he seems to have an interesting movement that sets up the spin in a normalized way. We don't get to see the fight, though. Looks like he has cold stare in the corner, though. Meanwhile, someone taking down his last crystal dungeon. And simultaneous crystal grabs from both players. Looks like Obscure's fight went well based on his heart count.
And it's just Ganon time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a flute to 5 for someone.
A little bit of cleanup for Obscure. Obscure has Pod to do, I think, maybe all of it. Or else we would have seen the sword in the big chest. Plus Turtle Rock. And I think Turtle Rock is just Trinex.
We have the teleport method on Obscure's side. We get an annoying moblin on someone's side. Now for Ganon. Tempered, red mail, silver arrows. Nice start.
Yeah, it's a really tight phase 2 for someone. Getting way more hits than necessary.
Yep, nice 1-1.
Oh, nice.
A Ganon bonk.
Yeah, really flaunting that red mail.
That wasn't so much a Ganon hug as much as a Ganon glomp.
I have not seen the word glomp in like a year. Glomps you XD.
Nice triple to finish it off.
Yeah, really nice seed for someone. Despite having a pendant dungeon go mode, made it there quickly. Which is always what you want to do in seeds, this kind of seed, when there's something in a pendant dungeon. Either you God Vision it, or you just get there quickly enough that it doesn't matter. And if someone had finished at 1:28:07, and Obscure has decided not to finish. So we will be hopefully getting them in for an interview.
GG to both runners. We are joined by Obscure GG on the race. And someone as well. Congrats on the win, someone.
Thank you. I don't know what was going on, but it worked.
Yeah, how about that swamp, huh?
Yeah.
So when you went in, I thought that was a very bold play because of your weapon situation. Were you planning to do a silver arrows Argus, or were you planning to just get the chest and leave and hope it wasn't actually the small key?
Yeah, I was hoping to find like a sword or hammer. Well, not expecting the hammer, just a sword. But yeah, after getting those chests, I planned on leaving and then coming back when it was in logic.
Yeah, there was actually a sword in the left side swamp that you could have gotten as well. Obviously, wouldn't have done you any favors since there were swords elsewhere, but you would have been bailed out.
Yeah,
But
if I
you
didn't
didn't
get the
do left
hammer.
side swamp first, so you would have done Argus first with silvers and then gotten the sword, which would have been pretty funny.
I didn't know Argus was possible with just silvers, but that's good to know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow, you had no plan. Okay,
I had no
that's even
plans, yeah.
funnier. Okay, yeah, you can damage the puffs with silvers. It's a stupid fight.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. The Argai are, I believe, immune to wooden arrows, but
Yeah.
Argus is susceptible.
I believe the fire rod also does damage, but I may be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But you would have to have a lot of magic extensions to do it on rods alone. But if you were to run out of arrows, you wouldn't be in trouble.
Bombs also possible. And we had quite a race here. We had an early hammer for someone, followed by, a pendant item, a pendant dungeon pick for the Quake medallion. Obscure, meanwhile, found the Quake early, going from pendant skull to thieves, and then hammer became the problem. So,
Yeah.
Obscure, how did you feel about your overworld routing through the pendants? I'm not hearing Obscure.
Oh, sorry, it would help if I turn my microphone on.
There you are.
Hi. Yeah, that was literally the worst seed I think I've ever played or played in a long time. Like, it just everything felt bad. Like, the routing felt bad. I was finding nothing. Like, the pendant dungeons were kind of like, well, if I don't do something wild here, I've lost. And when I found that Quake, I was like, there's a chance that someone might last location this, so I might have a chance to win. And then my focus went as well. Like, my execution couldn't specky, couldn't clip, couldn't glitch, ran out of bombs, this and that. And I was like, yeah, this is gone. Even if he last locates, like, he could have a nap in the middle and still beat me. Like, I was just completely off. Like, there was just no positives I could say about my execution today.
Yeah, it happens for sure. Especially as you get deeper and deeper into a seed. Yeah. So yeah, tough loss. Interesting seed for us, for the viewers.
Yeah, you guys had you knew what go mode was like an hour in.
Oh yeah.
Maybe less than that.
Oh yeah.
We didn't know who was ahead for a while, actually, because we didn't know what someone was going to do. We didn't know what you were going to do and how long it would take you to get to Quake. Because you actually did get there quite quickly, but there were a lot of things you could have done. You could have full cleared Skull Woods, gone for the full ped play where you're doing like Tower of Hera pendant first so that you can pull ped at Skull, or doing the Smith chain before you do any dungeons. So,
So I knew the medallion was locking a glove and a hammer, so there was no Smith chain. There wasn't like Mimic Cave and stuff.
So the medallion
that
locking
much.
the glove. So I'm guessing that's because it was in Turtle Rock. Oh no, because of Swamp.
Yeah.
So it was actually not locking. I'm assuming because I asked checks with the Hera big key was available.
Oh, Hera big key, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you still need a small key, right?
the small key was in Swamp.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
That works, I guess.
I think that works. So the small key in Swamp, you walk. First thing you do is you go to Hera and you climb Hera, and you clip in and you flood, and then you save and quit and you go to Swamp, and you find your small key, and then you do swamp normally with it already flooded, as if you got a free specky clip. And that's what the logic can expect you to do, and that's how the Mire Medallion can end up in swamp, and it's how the hammer and the Mire Medallion can both be behind swamp.
Okay. Well, I guess the logic didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, thankfully.
Yeah, you were lucky then if you were making those logic beats, because we were trying to like wrap our heads around it too. It just so happened that Quake was not only in Thieves Town, but in Thieves Town and not hammer locked by the small key of Thieves Town, which also could have happened.
So as we wrap up here, any other thoughts on the seed or on this matchup?
Well, it's definitely a seed.
And was this a game 1?
Yeah, this was game 1. Game 2 is same time tomorrow.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, lots of races on the board tomorrow. If you want to get involved in those, feel free to contact me directly or any member of this tournament who can help set you up with commentary or tracking. You do not need to have glitch experience to track, and if you want to comm, you can always join somebody who does have experience and comm with them. Otherwise, that will be all for tonight for Hybrid Major Glitches. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks for watching.